So soon in science class this year, you'll be taking your Open Note final exam. And one thing that you can do to prepare for any Open Note final exam, or any Open Note exam for that matter, in any class in your future, is to do something called tagging your notes. What you're looking at here is an 8th grade science notebook from a previous year that has been tagged in preparation for the Open Note exam. Let's talk about what tagging your notes means. The tags are represented by sticky notes, and they'll stick out of the top, bottom, and side of the notebook. If you can keep them on the top and the side and not use the bottom, that would be best because they tend to get rounded and folded up when they're on the bottom of the notebook. All of the tags will have a very short title on the part that sticks out. You can see from this picture, especially here in the inset, you have these have been labeled with a very short label on the part that sticks out. Those are tagged and titled by chapter, and they're all in the same color so that you can remember that those tags are by chapter. It's best to tag every single chapter we studied, and remember, you can use this document from my website and from class to help you, especially in this area down here, so that you know exactly which chapters we did read this year. You want to tag and title every chapter in one color of Post-it note. And it's also important not to just write the chapter numbers on there. Even though that is what you're seeing in this document, you see chapter number, like for example chapter 3, minerals, you should write the word minerals, not just chapter 3. I'm sure you didn't memorize that chapter 3 was the minerals chapter. And if you're answering a question about minerals, you're going to need to go to the minerals chapter without having to think about the fact that it was chapter 3. Finally, in another color, you want to tag and title specific sections from those chapters that you know you're going to need during the exam. Again, in the sample document, you can see those in pink here on the side. Now, these are just a few tags of certain sections that this student felt that she was going to need if there were questions about that on the final exam. These were the sections that this student had a difficult time with throughout the year, and she knows that she's going to have to look up the answers if there are questions about those on the final exam. So they are specifically tagged so that she can get to them really quickly. And again, you can see there is a quick little section detail on there in words, not in section numbers, because how are you going to remember what the section numbers were? So I have here a question for you and a timer set to 30 seconds. I'm going to show you the question. I want you to read the question to yourself just like you would on a test. Answer it in your head, and as soon as you've answered the question, take a look at the timer and see how long it took you to answer that question. And I think you'll be surprised how little time it takes. Here you go. Now there's still 10 seconds remaining, but I bet a lot of you have already answered this question. And this question is pretty wordy. There's a lot of reading you need to do in order to answer the question. So if you were able to answer that question with time remaining, and it's a long question, you should have no trouble finishing this test in the time that you're allotted, because a lot of the questions are going to be much shorter than this, and several of them, I believe about 20 of the 100, are not multiple choice, they're true false, and those are even faster to answer. So I know you're going to do just fine when it comes to timing on this final exam. Make sure that you do get your notes tagged and ready to go by the day that we take this final exam. Good luck.